So now we're going to learn the difference between regular and a relative max and min. So do you guys remember in quadratics, they either look like this or that? They either open up and up, which makes a minimum, or they open down and down, making a maximum in a quadratic. Now in a higher degree, these are going to start curving quite a bit, and so you might end up with a max, then a min, then a max, then a min, kind of like a roller coaster. Okay? And so I want to make sure you're familiar with the vocab. And the vocab here is that this is still a minimum and this is still a maximum, but we call it a relative minimum because it's not the lowest point. Okay? It's just a point where it changes directions. Okay? Do you see why this is not a global minimum? That's the word they use for minimum that is the true minimum. Do you see why that's not the lowest point? Because this goes down forever. It's a word relative. Just like here, that's a relative maximum because this goes up forever. Okay? Now in this drawing, we have a minimum, and this is a global minimum. This is the lowest point on this curve. This is a minimum, but it's a relative minimum because this is the true global minimum. And then this is a relative maximum because this goes up higher than that. So do you understand the difference between relative and global? Okay. And so if you want to know how to, the skill here is, can you find the relative max and mins using your calculator? I already showed you how to do that with quadratics. So you type it in, y equals, and you go second calc, and then min or max. You hit enter, and then remember you go to the left of the minimum, you hit enter. You go to the right of the minimum, you hit enter, and then enter again. Okay. And so let's look at this one. Okay, it's a cubic. Let's say they want you to find relative min and max. Okay. And so I'm going to walk you through how to do that. So first, put it in standard form. It is in standard form. Okay. And so you're going to type that in your calculator. And it's x cubed, x to the 3 plus 3x to the 2 minus 24x. Graph. Ooh, I can't see anything. Why is that? Yeah, so I can't see a min or max. I just see two straight lines. Right? Kind of like if you put your hand in front of your face, you can't see anything past it. So what do you think I need to do? You said it. Zoom in or out? Yeah, zoom out. So let's try zoom out. Okay. Enter. Not very good, right? Well, I always like resetting it. So I'm going to reset it back to the standard form, okay? I always like resetting it before I mess with it again. How about zoom fit? Zoom fit will sometimes take what you want and fit it in the screen. Let's see if that works. Zoom fit. Come on, let's fit it in there. Okay, that works for me. Okay, cubics always curve like that, okay? So I have, right here, I have a max or min? A max. Relative or global? Relative, because this goes higher, right? And then here I have a min relative. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go second calc max on this point and second calc min on this point and write down both maximum and minimum. Okay? And in case you don't remember from quadratics, directions up there, so we go second calc, max. And then remember, when you're trying to calculate the max, you have to move the cursor to the left side of the max. Anywhere on the left side, that's on the left side of the max, so that will work. And then you hit enter. And then it says right bound, so I need to go choose a point to the right of the max. Not yet, let's see, to the right, to the right, to the right. I think that would work, since the max is about right there, right? Hit enter. And it says, do you want me to guess that the maximum looks like it's right there, so I hit enter. And so my maximum is negative 3.999998. As before, we would just write that as negative 4, comma 80. Okay? Negative 480 is my relative maximum. And then to find my relative minimum, I would go second, calc, minimum. And this time I'm going to go choose to the left of my minimum. Heck, that would be to the left, right? Enter. And then I'm going to choose to the right of my minimum. Enter. And it says, do you want me to guess that your relative minimum is between those 2 points? Yeah, I do. Enter. And it's always a good idea to see if it puts your cursor at that point. Because I was noticing kids in the last chapter, they were doing relative max here, and it was putting the cursor like way up here. So make sure that your answer makes sense, that your cursor is where you think it should be. So the minimum would be 2, comma, negative 28. And they're both relative because one, it shoots down on the left and it shoots up on the right. Okay, so you would write your answer like that. Does that make sense? Well, I think in the homework they have you, well, they just say find the relative max and min. So they're telling you that they are relative max and mins. And the reason why is because they're all to the third power. And everything to the third power has relative mins and maxes because it always shoots down and up, right? But when we write our papers, one of our paragraphs, you're going to have to describe the difference between relative and global, okay? And so I'm making sure you understand that.